Good morning, everybody. Spooner Police Chief Mike Kronberger is our very special guest today, Thursday, September 7th, 2023. For DrydenWire.com, I'm Ben Dryden, and you're watching DrydenWire Live, presented by Americans for Prosperity Wisconsin. AFP Wisconsin works to reignite the American dream and break down government barriers that hold us back from our full potential. Learn more at americansforprosperity.org and join AFP to fight for more freedom for all Wisconsinites. Today we're chatting with Chief Kronberger, who actually joined Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald and I back in May. This was shortly after you became the chief. And yeah, we wanted you back on to talk about, I don't know, how's it going now? And we didn't want Fitzy on because he ruins everything. So we decided to do a standalone show for this. But by the way, if you have a question for Chief Kronberger or a topic that you would like for us to discuss, please put that into the comments during today's show. Mikey, good morning. Welcome back.
Good morning. Thank you.
Yeah. Speaking of Fitzy, last time you were on, you didn't have that much hair.
I know.
Look at that beautiful hair. Look at that. Wow, what a stud. It's nice that we finally have someone on the show with a full head of hair, because I don't. And Fitzy's in denial. Like, he should just shave it already, will ya? Come on. I'd like to see Fitzy try to grow his hair out. That would be, like, I would pay for that. Like, I'll donate to their canine foundation if they have one or something. I don't know. Just to see, like, for 1 year, don't shave.
Yeah.
That'd be
fun.
I
can't grow a beard, so I have to grow it on top of my head.
It's got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't really have a list of things like we usually do, like a show flow. So really, this is just going to be an organic chat. So usually, like with Fitzy and I, we start off with sports questions. I know you're not so much into sports, and we won't start off with this, but at the end of the show, we're totally going to nerd out.
Perfect.
I want to talk to you about Star Wars and that new series, Ahsoka. That's 4 episodes they've released. I'm lost. Like, I don't understand most of it, and I've watched every Star Wars everything, with the exception of their animated stuff. Couldn't find out, maybe I should have. I'm so lost. So could we do that at the end of the show? Can we talk about Star Wars? Yes.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. So you've been the chief now for what, 5 months, right?
Yeah, since April 1st. April Fool's Day.
Okay, so just over 5 months. Again, when you were on the show, and good morning, Shani. We were going into the summer. So you're the chief, you're going into the summer, and of course we all know around here, summer is crazy in our area. Crazy, usually good. But now with Labor Day in the rearview mirror, how'd the summer go? There was, Music Fest, Freedom Fest, Spooner Rodeo, the parade, etc. It was your first summer as the chief. How'd it go?
It went. There's a lot more planning behind the scenes that I never knew for traffic control and everything else. The new highway also with like 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day. The traffic on that 3-lane was something else. But at rodeo, I only got told I was number 1 by hand gestures only twice all weekend, so that was good. So I appreciated that.
Well, that's only 2 times? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's better than it used to be. So,
what would you attribute that to? Is it the hair? It's got to be the hair.
It was, that was 2 months ago. She's growing.
Is there any particular reason? Because we totally have to bring up your hair throughout this whole show now. Is there any particular reason you decided? Yeah, I'm the chief now. I'm gonna grow my hair out, suckers.
The main reason is I got alopecia.
What's that? I've heard of that.
So it's basically a stress thing, and I have a 50-cent piece of hair missing in the back of my head. So if I get my hair, it just falls out. It grows back. It just takes a while.
Okay, so now we're on a whole other thing, but I got to know more about this. How do you get this? Is it hereditary? Is it bad diet? How do you get this?
They say stress.
Just stress?
Yeah.
Clumps? My goodness.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No. Plus, it helps me during the winter. It's like, those long-haired dogs, as soon as they go into the water, they hold that water all the time. So if I'm out swimming, I'm cold all day.
That's nice. Love it.
Yeah.
So really, you're just growing it out to cover it up. That's
Yes.
what Fitzy needs to do. All right. So speaking of The 63, right? So it went down a single lane. We talked about that when you were on the show with Fitzy and I back in May about how is this going to go. A lot of people in the community weren't happy with the single lane and the turn lane thing, especially at the stoplights. Was it as bad as everyone thought it was going to be going into the summer with all of the tourists and traffic coming through, or was it actually pretty good? And then how do you measure that? I mean, big deal. Let's say it is backed up until like to a Economart or something. A lot of crashes, more, less. I mean, overall, was it better than people thought, or worse, or what?
I will say that as far as I know, there was only one crash since 63's been opened, and that was about 2 weeks ago. So the crashes on 63 have gone down, but one of my officers texted me on Monday coming back, and he said traffic heading southbound was all the way back from the stoplights to County Road A.
No,
it was moving.
County Road.
Yeah.
That's like what? No.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So on Labor Day when everyone was leaving.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, not only that, Highway 70 bridge is out, which, there's no cross traffic anymore.
Speaking of, like literally someone just put that in. Speaking of road closure, is then bridge on 70 open? And if not, is there a timeline? I think I put up a post about that last week from...
I believe the timeline is October 10th.
October. Oh, so it's going to be for a while, September, October. Okay, so for at least the rest of this month.
Yeah.
The bridge 70. Which bridge is this then?
That's the Yellow River.
Oh, okay, right before. Oh.
Historical marker there. Yeah.
Oh. So how do people get around that?
63 detour. Well, there was some people that were going down in the ditch off the highway and made a trail up to Orchard Lane, but we put a stop to that real quick.
All right. Sarah says, let's be real, it's awful, and the community hates it. I believe this is reference to 63.
Yeah.
Well, now that it's after, Labor Day, it's like a whole different world now. So speaking of that, when you go through, the first summer is the chief, obviously there's a lot going on, a lot of traffic, so many different things going on. But now you're going into school year and the summer's over. What challenges are you seeing now? Like there's almost like two different seasons here in Spooner, which is like summer, like this, Memorial Day to Labor Day, and then however many months, the rest of the 8 months of the year. What are you anticipating this fall? Challenges that you're seeing right now that I have to switch gears from summer chief to now local chief?
I would say a lot more patrols at the schools. I love getting out there and watching, the school traffic in the morning. That's what I try and do right away. But nothing's really going to change other than we'll have our old co-op friends. Yeah. So it's going to be the same grind, just a lot less tourist traffic, I would say, coming through. But the tourist traffic was great too, though, seeing people come through, local businesses and everything else. That was awesome to see too.
I'm still surprised, actually, we get so much traffic through Spooner, simply because the interstate's, right there. I'm not really sure why, but that's fine. Was there any issues when you have that many people coming, not just through, but they also stop? I mean, this is huge and great for our economy, of course. Mm-hmm. Is there any, certain types, or when you look at this, that it's, oh man, these are the ones that all stop, they all go out to the bars, which is perfectly fine, and then they're all, is it any issues with, we're not talking about local people, because that just happens all the time, goods, bads, otherwise, but is there an influx in certain types of crimes or anything, or violations, or no, for the most part, people are pretty good?
People are pretty good. I just don't understand, the wrong way parking in the middle of a street where they'll cross over and face the complete opposite direction, and then that's the biggest thing.
So what do they do?
So say you're heading north and south, they'll cross over the center line and park facing north or south on the opposite side of the road.
Maybe it's legal where they're from, like Minnesota or something. Maybe that's legal.
I don't know.
I don't either. Do you give them tickets?
Other than that, well, I try and call the people on the phone and give them the opportunity to move their car.
Oh, what a nice guy. I just write them tickets and just move on.
Sometimes you have to if it's busy enough.
You should deputize me, or I don't know what that's called for a police department. I'll do it. Summertime,
Yeah.
Saturdays. I'll just go around writing tickets. Give me one of those little carts, uh,
Yeah.
little ticket carts. I'd
Well,
love it.
give you a little bell on the handle of your bike or
Yeah.
something.
Okay, I'm laughing about it, but I'm open to it, man. You don't even have to pay me. Just writing people tickets is satisfactory enough. I love it.
Yeah. I don't like getting tickets, so I don't like issuing them if I don't have to.
Hey, speaking of things that maybe you don't love doing, I was told, I can't remember who told me this a while ago, and maybe it was my dad when he was, I can't remember who it was. I said about being the difference between like a deputy for the sheriff's office, or a sheriff's office, not specifically Washburn County, but a sheriff's office, versus being an officer or a chief in a municipality. Why they wouldn't want that job, or would they be interested? And they said number one reason: city ordinances. Ugh, is what they said. So do you deal with as the chief? Do you do that, or you kind of delegate that
I
out to somebody
no,
else? You deal with the ordinances, and are there a lot of them? A lot of
you
calls
know,
for them, I should say.
there is the dog barking complaints or dogs at large complaints, junk vehicles in the yard. What's another one I deal with? Accumulation of refuge.
What's
I
that?
don't know, junk just piled up.
But that
Yeah,
sounds a lot nicer, though, the way you
yeah,
said it, the ordinance.
yeah. So I
So
just go out and
is it received well when you show up? I mean, how do you handle those things? Hi, I'm the, in case you haven't met me yet, I'm the new Spooner police chief, and get your junk out of your yard, you moron.
well,
How's it received?
I just usually I print off the ordinance right out of there and say, hey, when can we work on this? Give me a timeline and I'll come and check it. As long as I see you're making progress, let's continue on, kind of
I
thing.
suppose. But when somebody calls and complains about it, because that's, I think Dave Wilson was the one who told me that a long time ago, that city ordinances are created basically, they're complaint driven. Somebody complains, and if we didn't have an ordinance, well, now we're going to have an ordinance about it. So somebody calls and complains, hey, my neighbor's got a bunch of junk in their yard. And then you go and you say, hey, just start working on it. I don't want you to write tickets. I don't want it to be here. You don't want me here. Just start a plan here.
If
Then do you
and
go and talk to the person who made that call, and do they receive that well, or do they like, no, I want that person like arrested and thrown in prison?
I try not to bring the complainant into it because they have a valid point too.
Yeah,
Say, hey, you got some neighbors complaining. This is the ordinance. Give me a timeline when we can start working on this kind of stuff.
yeah.
And then
Steve
I
said,
usually and grass too. Yeah, you gotta have your lawn mowed.
what is the ordinance in Spooner? What is the length?
I believe it's 8 inches. Don't quote me on
That's
that. It's either
what?
6 or 8. I'd have to look
That's
it up
pretty
when we
high.
put it on the spot. Yeah,
Holy cow! I assumed it would be like, I don't know, 4 inches. Well, 4 or 5. Wow, that's actually pretty high. So what do you do when it's? I'm sure there's situations where somebody doesn't live in the house, where it's a rental, and like there's nobody at home.
just contact the owner of the property and say, give me a timeline when you can get this done. Pretty
You're just
please.
too nice.
I know.
That's your problem. Come on, man. You're chief of police.
Well, things come up and there's always a reason for something not being done. It's not always ticket worthy, but I try and get them to do it because there's other,
Everything is ticket worthy, with the exception of tinted windows. Leave those people alone because they're not harming anybody.
I knew that was coming.
Seriously. And I go by
Yeah.
the police department because we're kind of neighbors, like where you work. And I go by and sometimes just roll my windows down. So then, you don't even see them. Yeah, ordinances.
When I was a young kid too, I used to have the dark tinted windows, and I got ticketed for it.
How much? No, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to bring any more attention to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you. So overall, let's go back to this summer. I don't know if how when you went into the summer, were you having certain expectations? Now that the summer's over, do you look back and go, "That was a good summer"? And how do you define a good summer? Is it just, hey, we didn't really have any traffic fatalities in Spooner? Maybe I don't recall any. Very few, big crimes. Everything went smoothly. How do you define a good summer?
For the agency, we made it through. Lots of great. It was busy because we had Freedom Fest.
Yeah.
So that was what was that, July 1st?
First or third, I can't remember.
That was honestly, that's my first concert I've ever been to in my life.
Really?
Yeah, never
What'd you
been to a
think? That was great. That was a great. I loved it. Fitzy, of course, Fitzy and I were there, and I
concert.
think I saw you there.
Yep,
If I recall,
yep.
yeah.
So that was, I don't remember what the attendance was there, but I had all staff there for that. Then the weekend after was rodeo, and with the new highway system, it backs up traffic. So you got a lot of people pulling into the rodeo, and I guess I never realized what was behind the scenes, talking with the staff, and what the plans were, where certain vehicles get parked, and everything else. But all my officers still upright and still working. They didn't quit on me, so
What is
that's
your
that's
how is your staffing right now? I know there's a lot of municipalities or places that some of them aren't like feeling the effects quite yet, but a number of them are just saying when we do have an opening, you used to have like 20, 30 applicants. Now, 2 or 3 and or maybe 4, and half of them aren't even qualified to do it. How is your staffing right now? Is there an opening for anything right now?
we are at full staff. We've had part time um, on the website, the state website, for I believe it's been since April. And when you go on this website, you can search the whole state, any open jobs, and why would anybody want to be part time when you
Yeah,
could go somewhere else and get full time? So it's
right.
still tough.
So you still have a part timers.
Yes. Yep.
Why? That seems kind of silly, to be honest. I'm sorry, I'm not from that world, but just from a
Budgets.
management
So,
standpoint and everything else,
yeah.
just a full time would be by far the best. Otherwise, the recidivism's got to be pretty high, or the turnover there.
Well, you got to look at the time off vacation. You have to have coverage for that. So that's where part timers come in. I started part time here in 2011, so I didn't have a set schedule, but I was covering for other people on vacation or if somebody gets sick because still got to have coverage out there.
And you could
Um,
probably work part time in Spooner, part time in Chalet, part time in Birchwood, or whatever.
and
So I get it. You should just hire Jerry Crispin back. See if he
he
wants a part time. And
he does not want to come back. I think he's enjoying it. I got a couple pictures of fish this summer from him, so he had to rub that in while I was working. Yeah.
love it.
But you got to have coverage, and it's budgets and everything else like that too. You can't just hire another. I'd like to get a utilitarian, a young guy to come in full time and kind of not have a set schedule, but if there's investigations, get them on here, get them but I don't know how to even work that in yet. I'm thinking I might have to make some phone calls.
We'll get it done for you. Fitz and I'll bring it up on the show. We'll get it done.
Perfect.
We'll put some pressure on him.
Perfect.
I thought I saw somewhere on, I think it was Facebook or someone texted me, I can't remember. There's an event coming up at some point, and it was, I don't remember what it was. Maybe a softball game. It was
Oh,
firefighters or cops or something. Is that Spooner?
yeah. Yep, that's Spooner. So at the Cardinal Field on the end of First
Oh,
Street,
yeah.
this Sunday, this will be I think it's the third, but I was told it's the fourth annual police versus firemen softball tournament. So I think it was 5 or 6 years ago. My wife made an awesome trophy. It had fire trucks. She put a lot of time into it, and we've never gotten it back. So for the first game, the fire departments had it in their fire hall,
I see.
and last year we got close to winning, and then I don't know what happened. We just crumbled at the end, but I'd like to have that trophy in our PD.
That's awesome. These are like rivalry games in college football.
Yes,
And then,
yes, and our fire department, great. They are the greatest people in the world. The fire chief, captains, Gary Johnson, Jeff Fox, great people. That whole department, I love going over there, especially
Darren
down
Vick
there.
runs a tight
Yes,
ship. He does a great job. And that dude just loves his job. It's so obvious.
yes, and so when I was captain, the weekend of Jack Pine, they have their breakfast. So I would go there early in the morning, and they'd feed me some food, and yeah. So I didn't get my free breakfast this year, but
I did. I was actually there. My one of my daughters, Annalise, and I, we went to the firemen's. And again, I just love being in that firehouse. That place
It's
is
pretty
awesome.
neat.
Yeah, so apparently they're great at softball, and man, they just kill those pancakes.
Yes.
They, I don't know what they do to it, but it's the best pancakes I've ever had.
Yep. So at noon on Sunday, if anybody wants to watch, it's going to be at the Cardinal Field. And then there's going to be a 50-50 raffle and a pie in the face. So you buy tickets, and any fire department player or police player that are playing, if your name gets drawn for that pie in the face, you get to pick who you want and you get a pie right in the face.
Does that
So,
usually turn out a lot of people?
I don't know. I never got it, knock on wood. I know Jerry got it one year, and then a couple officers last year got it. So I was safe last year.
That trophy, you said your wife made a trophy. How do you make a trophy?
I don't remember how she did it. We were living in Rice Lake at the time, but she bought little, I think, Tonka toys or something. It was a fire truck, and I haven't seen it in a long time. That's why I want it back. But then I think she painted it red for the fire department, blue for police department on one side, and
Oh.
made it all crafty. So I'd really like to get it back. But
Well, I'll text Darren, Chief Vic, and see if he can send us a photo of it, and we'll put
yeah,
that up. So usually when these things, it's these types of events. You said people have to buy a ticket, or there's raffle stuff or something. It goes to something. Is it like
yeah,
half of it goes to Spooner Police Department for whatever, and then half
yeah.
to the firefighter? How does that work? And what's it for?
So any of the proceeds last year, it was split. Half the proceeds went to the fire department, and
Sure.
half went to the police
Okay.
department, and they chose what charity they wanted to go to. And last year, I believe our foundation used that money for hats and winter gloves for the school districts.
Oh, so you don't keep that money. It's
Nope.
oh, got it.
Yep. So then this year, the police department, the half is going to go to Hunter and Emily's from Chautauqua
Oh,
and Cameron's memorial fund. So that's where we'll put our half. And I think last year the fire department put it on the burn victims. I believe that's where they went. But there's going to be hot dogs and soda pop and chips there.
there's food.
So
I'll
yeah.
show up. Where do people go to get more information and everything they need to know? Where do they go?
Uh, well, the Spooner Police Department's website. There's for Facebook. I don't do Facebook real well, but
I
then
don't
there's
do
also
Facebook.
yeah. Well, and then the Spooner Fire Department has a Facebook page as well, and I've been trying to share it on ours a couple times a day. So if they go to ours, they'll see the event on there. But
Okay.
that's fun because it's good. It's a good mental health break for officers and the fire department as well too.
Didn't even think about that.
I love baseball, and I really want to win.
I want that freaking trophy.
Yes, I would, because then we'd have bragging rights
Well,
for
that's just
once.
it. Hold on. I'm going to just Googling, or I'm sorry, going to Facebook, going on there, come out, watch the game of the year. I see it now. Yeah, SFD versus SPD charity softball game.
You know,
Yes, it's right. That's the first link right on your page
you know.
on Facebook.
And just it's not just my agency that's playing. So I have a couple deputies from Washburn County. I have a state trooper that's going to be on our team, and then also a Shell Lake officer is going to be on our team as well. So,
Really?
yep,
So, I was just, yeah, that's dumb. I don't know why I just assumed it was just all Spooner.
yeah.
So are some of these like ringers? You getting like Dave Boss? That dude looks like he would just like kill a softball.
Yeah, nope, it's their new officer,
Okay.
McHale. Yeah, so and then
Okay.
I
We'll
got
find
Mitch
out.
Cracky too, so he's quite the bat, and Deputy Chrisman, Deputy Knope, and a couple other deputies. I have to look at the roster list, but I want to win.
Gotta get that trophy.
Hmm.
You gotta get that. You need to put that. So get that picture. I'll send it to you. Put that on your Facebook page.
Will do.
This is what we're going for, and of course, charity and good stuff. Anyway,
Yep.
so
Yep.
that's awesome. So it's been 5 months. If you could go back and tell, if Mike Kronberger, September 7th, 2023, you could go back and tell Mike Kronberger April 1st one thing, what would you tell him?
make it your own. Take your time. You gotta. I was nervous. I was trying to make sure I was doing the same thing as what it was, and you just gotta just relax. You'll figure it out, and if you don't, there's great people that can help you figure it out. So
That is nice. There's a lot of support around. And plus,
yes,
the community love. I mean, seriously, in Northwest Wisconsin, in these rural communities, we love our cops and firefighters. Certainly,
yes,
thankfully, all that national narrative never really bled into our area. For the most part, it really hasn't.
yeah, yeah. Pretty blessed
No
for sure.
kidding. And your wife is just awesome. By the way, she is
Yeah,
so great. She's so good for you.
yeah. Keeps me stable and puts me in my place for sure.
Yeah. So before we nerd out, start talking about Star Wars, and that's when everyone can just stop watching at that point, because there's just going to be a conversation between you and I about Star Wars and that new Ahsoka, which I'm so confused about. Is there anything else that you want to make sure that we talked about that we didn't get a chance to? There's got to be something. Bring up any topic, or if somebody has a topic. I don't see
Um,
one.
well, Spooner, was that Steve on there? I didn't see. I can't
Yeah,
read real good.
I can't read too good.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Do you have any questions?
Pfft. I get
There's
questions
Steve.
all the time. There, see, there you go.
He's a great guy. He works for North Memorial Ambulance. Great.
Aw. Oh, and there's a Dave Wilson.
Oh,
Thank
Dave.
you.
Yeah. Oh, we did have our June 6th active shooter training at the Spooner Middle School. That's
Oh, so what was for people who weren't aware? I think you sent out a press release about that, and we posted it.
you know,
Yeah, that was a couple months ago. What was that about for people who didn't or weren't aware of it?
it was a training for law enforcement in our county and some surrounding counties and the school staff. So
Oh, really? The school staff was there.
yes, yep. So we had Deputy Darren Jensen from Sawyer County. The sheriff let him come up and help us. So he planned all these school scenarios in Sawyer, and I was helping him be the bad guy. So he came and helped us, and it was an eye-opening experience. Making sure officers are responding properly, the 911 system can handle it. Um, Command was set up properly and stuff, and tactics and all kinds of stuff were handled. And the school staff were role players. I love our school staff. They are just great people. Um, Work very closely with them. But yeah, it was 10 months of planning for four
Holy
hours of
cow!
training. Yeah, 4 hours was the scenario.
Well, you have to play the bad guy with hair like that. You
It
look.
wasn't quite this long in June. I don't
Oh,
know what
okay.
happened. I must have had some kind of hair growth, something going on. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was awesome. And Deputy Jensen from Sawyer County had one at the winter school too that I assisted with that too. So
So if you've been on, if I recall, shoot, maybe not. I really should do more research for these shows. Weren't you a part of the SRT team at one point? Maybe you still are. I can't remember.
still am. Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
does that? Um, so you get different kind of training than the average officer does, just because of that, right?
I wouldn't
I
say
mean,
different kind of training, more
more
in
training.
depth.
Well,
Yes.
okay.
Yep.
So does that help you when you're going through these things, or you're even going, man, this is all new, and I'm learning a ton? Does that help you
It does,
because of that?
absolutely. Yep. And then I'm also the firearms instructor too for my agency, and I help out when, so, just tactics, moving, room clearing, and that kind of
You're
stuff.
a
So any
firearms what?
instructor
So what does that entail?
that I can certify people in our agency and send it through the state, and I'm seen by the state as a certified instructor.
So do people
So
have
it's
to? So pretend like people aren't cops that are watching,
yeah. So
going,
you have to
how do you
you
do?
have
Like,
to
so do you have to do it every year, or it's like a driver's license every eight
a
years? You have to go
minimum,
in,
yep, a minimum of every year you have to go out to the range and qualify for the state qualification
and does that
through the
qualifying
dealer
just
here.
mean be able to put bullets in a I don't know close
Yep,
thing, whatever?
with movements and distance and stuff like that. And
Oh,
good, So
What happens if you fail one of those? Do you get a do-over or like, all right, come back next week, but in the meantime, that week you can't work or something?
I work with them well enough and get them warmed up, and so does Deputy Olson from the sheriff's office too. I've never had anyone fail, and usually when they get through the academy, they're a pretty good shot as well. They
What I'm
have great
hearing is it's
instructors.
because of you. Like you're
No,
such
no,
a
no,
good trainer that
no,
no.
no. But we won't let them fail. There's no failing, and by the time they come through, they're not gonna fail. Law enforcement's supposed to be pretty good shots, but it isn't like you see on TV though either.
What?
You know, no, rolling and diving and jumping out of cars.
Yep, and writing tickets.
Yep.
That's what I. Oh my goodness! All right, so I gotta ask you, Star Wars. I've watched every Star Wars movie, every Star Wars series. I love The Mandalorian. I know you're a Star Wars fan as well, more than I am because you understand more of the lore than I do. So I've been waiting for this, the new series that's on Disney Plus, Ahsoka,
Yep.
and I think there's going to be like 6 episodes. There's 4 out now. It comes out a new one every Tuesday. So there's only 2 left. Again, I've watched so I understand so when like Rogue One came out, I understand where this was in the timeline and all this because it's Star Wars. I understand all of this. I started watching this and dude, I was lost. Like no kidding. Like who? I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that Ahsoka was on herself because she was on Mandalorian and there were some lightsabers, I wouldn't even know this was Star Wars. What is going on? Like, what is this all from? I don't get it, and I'm not enjoying it because I don't understand any of this stuff.
Yeah. So if you watch The Mandalorian was it season 3?
I've watched them all many times.
So she was in there, and
Yep.
then so the last time you see her in there, this continues from that timeline. So it's basically Mando goes and does his thing,
Yep.
and then she goes and does her thing.
Yep.
But she's from the Star Wars animation, which is all canon. So you have to go
Oh.
back and watch the Clone Wars, which
I have not watched it. Honestly, I thought that was just like Star Wars for kids. Not kidding. I thought it was just it's a way to get kids to like Star Wars.
I'm
I
gonna
didn't realize
pick
there was
on,
like
and I don't
story
care.
arc stuff there.
Yes. Yeah.
That's why
So
I'm so confused.
So, Anakin, she was Anakin's Padawan,
Yep.
and then she left, and then he went down his path.
To Darth Vader, right?
You know?
Yeah, so I understand like
So-
her part of this, but they're bringing up things like what Night Sisters or something, and there's witchcraft stuff, and all, I'm like, what? And then
which is all in. You know?
yeah, it's so confusing. And yeah, I know we're totally nerding out here. I mean, all right, cool, I love it. So what I don't understand though is we all know, we all know that to be like a Jedi and use the Force, it's your midichlorian count, right? That's what we all know.
That's right out the window.
And then all of a sudden it's like, no, anybody. This is like the last episode, the one before, like anybody can use the Force. You just have to try hard.
Yep.
And that just blows my mind. Like, what in the world is this now? It's like it's changing everything, and I don't like it.
But if you watch the episode 1, 2, and 3, I think only episode 1 ever talks about the midichlorians and stuff, and then it kind of went because, from what I understand, George Lucas never wanted it that way. So,
Really?
so I watched this guy Emergency Awesome because the older I get, I forget stuff. And
You
he's
sent me a
YouTuber.
text as a link to him on YouTube, and I watched it last night and another one this early this morning, and that helped a lot. Like that dude is brilliant. He goes through everything for every show, and actually it was interesting because some of his recaps are longer than the actual episodes. I mean, and then I'm learning a whole bunch, but now I'm even more confused. It's wait for what now, and then who's the what? I'm so lost in this. You're following more of this, of course, than I am, and you know more about this than I do. Are you enjoying the series?
I am because I want to see where it goes. I think it'll get better, but I had to do a little brushing up myself too because I like to pay attention and try and I like finding the Easter eggs and stuff like the certain movies, and there's all kinds of hidden Easter eggs. So I don't want to give a bunch of stuff away in case people haven't caught up yet.
Don't even bother watching it. No, if you want me to know what's going on, you better just have a character tell me what's going on during the show. I'm not going to look for any of this stuff. I don't have time for that.
but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Okay. What's your
I'd like to
favorite?
see some more choreographed fight scenes because let's be honest, Star Wars is about the sword fights.
Yeah, it really is. The lightsaber. Yeah. Top three Star Wars movies of the nine. The main nine. Top three.
I would say Episode 3.
What?
Yeah,
That's
I just
interesting.
and
Was it? Uh, what's that called? Sky. Wasn't it the Skywalker one? No, not.
yes, we're,
What was it called?
it was
So of the original. So you're talking about the prequels.
the prequels. Yeah,
Phantom Menace, then Clone Wars, and then what was the third one called? Doggone, I can't remember now. But that's your number one.
that's one. I would say that's number one or number two, and then
Well, which
I
is it?
really I probably like Episode 4, or what is that? A New Hope,
New
or
Hope. So the original, the first one,
the very
1978
first
or
one.
whatever. That
I
was good.
remember when I
Obviously,
was
set
a
the.
kid watching those with my dad. You know,
Sure, sure.
I
All
didn't
right.
understand it back then. I just saw a bunch of lightsabers and cool music and big ships.
Yeah, yeah. So episode 3, episode 4, and what's your number three?
Not the last one. I would say
That was
probably
terrible.
that was
That was
horrible.
absolutely terrible.
I would probably say 4,
Oh, thank you.
3, and
Revenge of the
then
Sith. Sorry, that's
yes,
what it was called.
yes.
Thank you. Drive me nuts. They should take away our Star Wars fanboy cards.
But if I could choose any of them, all the whole series of Mandalorian,
So
if
that
we're
was
doing it,
brilliant.
yes, it
That was
reminds me
so
of
good.
an old western. You know,
It was so good. When's the next one
yes.
coming out? Next year?
No,
Season
2
4?
years. Yeah.
Jeepers. How many are they doing of these? Like there's Ahsoka right now. What's next in the Star Wars release stuff? Is it another season of Boba Fett? What's next?
What was it? I think it's the Mandalorian.
In 2 years? No.
Yeah.
No. There's got to be something else.
I
Oh,
don't
there's
think
another
so.
one I didn't understand on watching the Ahsoka. Their whole point is to try to get this, was it, I don't know, this Aaron kid or something. I don't know who
Thrawn.
he is. And then, no, I mean, the one girl, Seldina or
Yeah.
something, and she's trying to get her
Yeah.
friend.
So that weird colored painting in the back with it looked animated back there.
Yeah.
That's taken from the animated series. That's what they all look like in the animated series.
Okay, got it.
So
So
they
I don't know who
kept
that
that
is.
in
And
there.
then the biggest thing, of course, is the whole story is that they're trying to go to find this Thrall or Thrawn. Never
Thrawn.
heard of that dude before.
You know, so he's actually in the books. That's one person
I
that,
have to read.
yeah, I don't read real goods either, but they make that stuff on track tape. You know, put it in a cassette tape and drive around. It'll
Who
read it
has a
for you.
cassette tape player?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just. I'm not enjoying the series just because I don't understand. It's so weird. Like this isn't really Star Wars to me because I don't understand any of this stuff
We'll
that's
see
going
what
on.
happens. There's 2 more episodes.
Okay, okay, I'll take your word for it, but I'm not enjoying it. And there has to be something else before 2 years. I mean, Disney owns this now.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be pumping these things out. They don't like usually it's like a couple of things a year, isn't there? Or at least
Yeah.
one a year. They're not going to wait
Yeah.
2 years.
That's what the internet says, but the internet's never wrong. You know that.
Well, I know. Thank you, Al Gore, by the way. All right. Well, now we nerded out a little bit. Thank you for that. Didn't really help, other than to know that you're not really loving the series. That's what I'm hearing too.
Yeah.
But you're right. There's 2 more left. We'll see. I don't have high hopes, but whatever.
Maybe Mando will show up.
That'd be nice. Give me something. Ugh, it's terrible. All right, so what do you, this Sunday, people can go to find out more information on your Spooner Police Department's Facebook page regarding the firefighters versus cops.
Yep.
Maybe get more information there. That's going to be held at the Cardinal Field right off of Elm Street in First Avenue.
Yep.
This Sunday, you can get more information there. What else coming up after this weekend? Any big plans in the Spooner Police Department or maybe just for you? Are you taking a vacation anytime soon?
No, I'll be gone the last week in October, first week in November for bow season. So I don't bring my phone with me. Captain will be on call, and I'm gonna leave my phone at home and sit out in the woods.
Nice. That
Yeah.
sounds that sounds absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
No access to the internet. Outside.
No.
Killing animals for
I don't
fun.
even. Yeah, I just like watching them too. I notice the older I get, I don't know. My heart gets too big for those. I
See,
love
that's how I am
whitetail
too. I
hunting.
couldn't actually do it. I mean, I know they don't have feelings, but I do, and I just can't take its life. I don't know. I'm weird that way.
Do you like venison though?
Uh, it's me. I mean, you put enough pepper on anything, and I could eat a shoe if you just put some, leather shoes with some pepper on it, or some slap your mama. I love that stuff. Just so no, pepper anything, and I'm fine. I don't love venison. It's just meat. It's like pork and ham. It all
Did
kind of
your
tastes the same
Was
to
your
me.
dad a hunter?
When we first moved up here, I think he hunted a few years, but we're not a hunting family. My brother and I went out one year, and I went with him because I wasn't old enough, or I didn't have a gun license or permit, whatever that stuff is. And we went out on a Saturday morning, out into the woods, like 5 in the morning, and we're just waiting for deer, sitting like this is really dumb. And by 7 in the morning, I'm like, I'm going back home. So I walked back home and I watched cartoons and had hot chocolate. Like this is way better. So that was my whole experience hunting was for 2 hours. And then Matt came back, my brother, a couple hours after that. And I think that was his last one too. He was like, well, that's stupid. So like, I can just go to the store and buy this stuff. What am I doing out here?
Yeah. I
No,
don't
not so
know.
much. Is there a big plans? Do you have to worry about that as a chief going into hunting season?
Not so much here, but obviously you can't hunt in the city limits. So
Well, right. Yeah. What I'm just meaning is like, is there stuff you have to prepare or plan for? Kind of like when you had the rodeo parade, the music fest, Freedom Fest. Do you have to kind of plan for any of this?
no, it's just the traffic coming through for people coming up to their cabins. So if they
So
got a
just traffic.
cabin, yeah, traffic's the problem.
Oh, I suppose. What am I thinking? Yeah, right. Because I'm thinking still, county stuff. And you're right, Spooner,
Yeah.
just traffic going through.
Yeah,
So it probably isn't that big of a hindrance on the Spooner Police Department.
no,
Hopefully we don't have any deaths, man.
yeah.
That's scary stuff. All right. Anything else? Anything else you want to talk about? Anything else going on? We heard some vacuuming in the background, so that's nice. Getting the office all
Yeah.
cleaned up.
Oh, you could hear that?
I could hear it. I don't know if anybody else could, but I could hear it in my headphones. Someone was vacuuming.
They were, yeah. Wasn't me.
On an average day, well, there's no such thing. Let's say you work 40 hours a week, just for an easy number. How many of those hours are spent in the office? Emails, this, that, whatever. And then following up to that already, how many would you like to have in the office? Is that too much? Not enough? How many, is it half the time you're spending in the office and half the time out?
It depends on how big the report or the case that I'm working on, but if I'm just having normal contacts and I can sit, say, in one of the parking lots of the school or watch a stop sign area, a problem area with stop sign violations, I'll sit there and type up the report or something like that. I don't like being in the office if I don't have to be. I just don't. I can do, I would say, a lot of my stuff in the squad car, but you got to be cautious doing that stuff too. So,
Right.
always on alert too. So you don't want to be too focused in on something and not paying attention to your surroundings. So the other day I was doing that, watching stop signs, and I was typing a report, and I heard a horn. And I looked up. Well, I didn't even know what was going on, but it looked like two cars almost crashed. I'm like, all right, I might as well just watch the stop sign now. I got to focus.
Yeah.
Because I'm waiting for somebody to drive by, like, you gonna do something? It never happened, but I don't know what I didn't see. So I got.
Where do you like to park in the mornings when you're looking for traffic and speeders and bad guys?
I can't. I change it up. I change it up.
Is there a lot of people that speed down through, what is it? Is it K? The one that's going, not K. Maybe it is.
Past the elementary school, the Scribble
Yeah.
Street.
And it's speed limit 15. And I remember, dropping off a rally at school, and I go down to 15. I'm like, man, this is really, really, really slow.
Yeah.
And there's no actual kids around because, they're all in the parking lot. But whatever. Is there a lot of people that go pretty fast through there, or for the most part, people understand? Yeah,
They understand
we're watching
for
this.
the most part. Yeah.
Okay.
There is some people that aren't being attentive, and Officer Dorn will get them for that. But
If you need someone just to sit in a car and run radar and write tickets part-time in the mornings, I know a guy.
you win those tickets.
power. I'd be a terrible cop for 1,000 reasons, including I'd be absolutely corrupt. Do you really get a ticket, or that $100 you just dropped? Have a good day. Special thank you to Spooner Police Chief Mike Kronberger for joining us for a chat today. A reminder, Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald and I will be back next Tuesday for another exciting episode of Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy. So until then, thank you for watching and have a blessed day.